right. Have and have not fans, Tyler Perry fans, I really don't know how to label this one, but I think this topic is more in tune for the haves and the have nots. And I'm not going to lie, looking back at the comments on the live stream I did about the finale out of time and just looking at all the comments and posts following the episode, I think it's safe to say that a majority of the fan base did not like it. Some people were just saying that both the haves and the have-nots and If Loving You Is Wrong was hot garbage. Both episodes stunk. Tyler Perry isn't able to write the mysteries and whatnot that he used to. Everybody saw the lion tattoo coming, which is a bold-faced lie. Literally, I mean, go back on, well, then again, it's over 40 videos, but go through some of the comments, and I don't mean the recent comments over the past week. Go back on videos, look at the comments from like 4 to 5+ months ago. People said I was nuts for, claiming that Derek was the guy with the lion tattoo and whatnot. People didn't see it coming. Some people did, but not everybody. So don't let that fool you. But when I say garbage and whatnot, I'm not being harsh. I'm being accurate because I'm talking about a majority of the things that I've seen in relation to the finale. And let me just say this once again. If you are a long-time person on the channel, then you can kind of, just deafen yourself to this part of the video. If you're new to the channel, my name is Carden. I'm just a massive fan of Tyler Perry shows such as The Haves and the Have-Nots and If Loving You Is Wrong, specifically The Haves and the Have-Nots. But just so you know, being a fan, I have no affiliation with Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry Studios are owned, so I pretty much speak freely here. But I'm not one to just rant about something I don't like. I also try to talk about how maybe it could have been written better or character development, things like that. So don't take this video as an attack on Tyler Perry or use this video to weaponize and say, you know what, Tyler, you suck. That's not really the point. I think I'm speaking for a majority of fans when we ask the question, has Tyler Perry lost his touch? Yes and no, because let's look at one of the major things that I will be discussing in another video, because I'm still trying to figure out. Honestly, I did see the news about, what was it, DirecTV dropping BET and about 22 other stations, basically eliminating Viacom from its lineup. And there's been a lot of backlash to that. I know that it was supposed to happen, Saturday, but I haven't followed up on it yet. I'll probably do it later this week. But I know that literally screwed over Tyler Perry, because remember, his big deal with Viacom started this May. I mean, he's been doing movies and everything. He's been doing TV shows, but the movie part of the deal started a while ago. But in terms of like the television distribution stuff, that doesn't officially start until May of this year. So one thing about the haves and the have-nots and whatnot that people have been legitimately, I don't want to use the word complaining, but it's been a legitimate concern amongst fans, is like not everyone has OWN. A lot of cable providers have removed OWN from their lineup, or you have to pay extra money to get it. Not everyone has that. So even though we hear the shows are great, they aren't, people aren't able to watch them live or legally. There are just a ton of different websites, and I'm not going to say them because I know a lot of people are going off. Jeremy, why did you mention Daily Motion in your Derek video? That was a secret. Nah, not really. You can just type in the title of an episode and it just pops up. And I'm not going to call out YouTube channels, but there are plenty of channels that upload the episodes. Why would you say that, Jeremy? Because I get flagged for copyright sometimes for stuff that is within the copyright guidelines. But then there are channels out there that post full episodes, but they're still up and running. So I'm bitter, but whatever. So yeah, it kind of sucks. But can you imagine, not everyone has OWN, but how many people have DirecTV? And if all those Viacom networks are removed, Tyler Perry is losing millions of, honestly, I think it's pretty accurate. He's losing millions of viewers to all of his new TV series and movies and whatnot before they even come out on the air. But thankfully, back in my parents' house, they have a Dish network, not DirecTV. And where I live in my apartment, my roommate and I, we have like the Comcast, Xfinity, whatnot. So we pretty much have the cable internet stuff. So I'm cool. I'm able to watch these shows. I'm able to review them. But yeah, it sucks for everybody else with DirecTV, because I don't know if they put Viacom back on there. Like I said, I haven't followed up, so I really can't fully report it, but that'll be its own separate video. But really, in line of, has Tyler Perry lost his touch? I think the haves and the have-nots has lost its spark. Like, if you go back on Hulu, and I'm giving a legal way of watching the show, go on Hulu. I'm pretty sure they have from like the first episode up until the end of 2018. I don't think they have the episodes like Battle for the Past. Basically, I don't think they have the 2019 lineup on there yet. I could be wrong, but go back to like the first 2 seasons and the show really was addictive. Like that first episode, like I remember watching it with my mom, the first episode when it aired on OWN, because I remember our Dish Network was doing like a free 2-week preview of OWN. After 10 minutes into the episode, my mom was like, commercial break, I'm going to call Dish Network and we're going to add OWN to the package, because the show was that good. You had to tune in each week. All the characters had something to add to the story. Now it's like, it's not like that anymore. Some characters, you're just questioning why they're even on the show. Even worse than that, there are a lot of characters who haven't even changed since season 1. Like their personalities and whatnot, they're just one-note characters. Wyatt had actual development during the first season or so. Now he's just an addict. I mean, yeah, he's always been an addict, but I feel like that's just, I feel like a lot of characters are one-note characters. Like, here's the crazy one, here's the obsessive one, here's the addict one, and this and that. But they really don't have any growth. Compare that to the early seasons. And I feel like what really makes it damning is the fact that, yes, the channel itself has grown because of the fact that I do all these in-depth theories and, you know, where I think the story is going, where I would like the story to go. And more often than not, I'm right. I'm not 100% accurate all the time, but I have had people, and this has just been some very humbling comments that I try not to use to get a big head, but I just humble myself when I read these. Some people have been saying, like, I love watching your episode reviews because sometimes they're more interesting than the actual episode. And other people who say, hey, like I mentioned before, don't have OWN, so they pretty much depend on me to, you know, catch them up on the show via my recaps or, you know, discussion videos. And that means a lot. But there have been a lot of times where people are like, look, I love your videos and whatnot, but damn, the show has just been so predictable that even I, a casual viewer, has been able to figure out where the plot's going. And that's actually not a good reflection on the writing. And, you know, there have been so many different stories from behind the scenes of Tyler Perry having writers, but then firing writers and then falling out with Oprah because she made a suggestion that maybe, you know, after having some focus groups and television executives and whatnot looking at the show, they've noticed that the show, as it went on, the ratings are still up, but the quality has died down because, you know, you're the only one writing. Maybe you should add some additional people to, you know, spice things up. He didn't like that idea. It's like, look, the ratings are good. If the ratings are good, let me just keep doing me. And that's why he left to go to Viacom, because he has way more freedom there, more channels and whatnot to work with. And, you know, that's what a lot of reports said. And I did a video going over that, but it actually does show. And like I said before, go back to the first couple of seasons and the show was great. But then you noticed, as if you look at the dates, basically it used to be just the haves and the have-nots and Love Thy Neighbor. Then as soon as If Loving You Is Wrong came out, that's when the show started to be dragged out. And then the quality began to decline. And we are where we are now. The same thing happened on TBS. He had House of Pain, and then he had Meet the Browns. But then as soon as he threw in that other show, for better or worse, that third show, sometimes third time's a charm, other times third time's a disaster. I feel like when that happens, whenever Tyler Perry squeezes in one more show, that's when the quality of all the shows begins to decline, and then the ratings as well. And that's my biggest fear for the Viacom deal. Like, first of all, I'm happy for Tyler Perry Studios, all these great projects in the work. I am not faulting the man's work ethic. But in terms of the quality over quantity, I feel like that's been lost in the shuffle. Like, it's great that you have the #1 show on OWN and whatnot, but if you have a majority of the fans not liking the product, you know, once again, it doesn't matter. Look, I'm going to say this till I'm blue in the face. I'm just a guy that loves the show and I talk about it. I don't have a studio. I don't have millions of dollars in the bank. I'm tens of thousands of dollars in student loan debt. So, you know, I did hear Tyler Perry did hook up a family, like paying their you know, what was it, the mortgage and helping the student through school. You know, if you want to help a brother out, I know sometimes I think about that, because when I make these videos, they're not mean spirited. I wouldn't be talking about these shows if I didn't care about them. Sometimes in the back of my mind, I do feel like maybe because Tyler Perry probably got his hands on one or two of these videos, and instead of one of the videos where I'm praising the show, it's a video where I'm just talking bad about the show. And then it's like, you know what, I'm never going to contact this guy, or I'm never going to, you know, give him a shout out on the internet or help him with his student loans. I'm like, well, that's damning. But at the same time, it's like, well, at least I'm honest. And the fact that the channel has grown to the level it is, I do feel like that means something to me. And yeah, I do appreciate that. But I don't feel like Tyler Perry has lost his touch. I feel like Tyler Perry has had his hands in too many different bowls. I guess is the right analogy. It's like when the show first came out, like I said before, it was the haves and the have-nots and Love Thy Neighbor. But then as time went on, he added on If Loving You Is Wrong. Then he also did Too Close to Home on TLC. He was doing more movies. He was making cameos and this and that, doing some plays as well. And that just, I feel like he spread himself out too thin. And as a result, the product wasn't as good as when it first came out. And that's a shame. Like, I remember one of the plays I watched when the haves and the have-nots was, you know, just coming out. I think it was Aunt Bam's place, because my mom bought the DVD from Walmart, and it was one of the worst plays I've ever seen. I'm not lying. If there was any, look, if anybody out there loved Aunt Bam's, what was it, Aunt Bam's house, Aunt Bam's place, more power to you. But we did not like that play. I think that was like the last play me and my mom just sat down and watched together. It was not that good. Some people have told me, yo, Jeremy, I know you said you gave up on the plays, but you really should watch a lot of new ones like Medea's Neighbors from Hell, or Medea Gets a Job. Over the past few weeks, whenever I've been in Walmart and whatnot, and I've seen those plays on sale, or even FYE in the mall when they have the used versions, I have about 5 or 6 plays stacked up that I haven't watched yet. I think aside from Aunt Bam's place, the only other play I've watched was the haves and the have-nots. And I'm talking about the recent ones. Of course, I watched all the classics, The Marriage Counselor, Why Did I Get Married, I Can Do Bad All Myself, Family Reunion, Class Reunion, Meet the Browns. But I'm talking about the kind of like the post TBS Tyler Perry, pretty much when he started on OWN. All those plays, yeah, I haven't really looked at them that much, but I'll check them out soon. But I feel like there are a lot of ways Tyler Perry could enhance the show, but I do feel like I agree with a lot of people. And I remember when the Viacom article came out, I believe it was in 2017, when it was announced that Tyler Perry is going to be ending the shows in like 2020. His Viacom deal would start, you know, in 2019, and then the shows would stay on OWN. I'm talking about If Loving You Is Wrong, The Haves and the Have-Nots and the Pains, which has been canceled, by the way. He would start his Viacom deal, and then those shows would run on OWN until they end their series. Then, you know, that'll be the end of that. And when that announcement was made, we were all kind of saying the same thing. Even when The Pains was announced, it was like, okay, Tyler Perry's leaving OWN, and The Pains is probably like a filler show, pretty much, you know, fulfilling his contractual agreements with OWN before he makes his leave. And I feel like watching the past few episodes of the Haves and Have-Nots before the hiatus, I feel like it really did show where Tyler Perry was like that person who put in their 2-week notice at a job, and they're kind of coasting until it's their last day. And unfortunately, I feel like that's reflected in the work, because even looking in the I don't even know how to say this, but kind of piggybacking on what I said earlier about Viacom channels being dropped from DirecTV. You look at it where, okay, yeah, I'm ending Medea, you know, Medea's gone. And then, yeah, that even though it hasn't been officially announced, there's been a lot of hints that the Haves and the Have-Nots is ending after season 7, the season that was filmed last September. And that'll be its own separate video, because Tinka Sumter herself has been announced to get a starring role in a prequel series for Blackish. And so is Tyler Lepley, aka Benny Young, on some kind of stripper exotic dancer show on Stars. When you have a couple of main characters giving main roles in other series on different networks, that pretty much lets me know that the haves and the have-nots is probably ending. But going back to the analogy of, you know, a person putting in their 2-week notice, I feel like the same thing with Tyler Perry and the Viacom deal. yeah, you know what, OWN's been great, but I'm ready to do something else. I'm ready to move on to another job. Let me put in my 2 week notice. I'm just going to do enough work to get by, kind of like, you know, what he has with these last few episodes of the season. But then when you jump ship, you know, because that new company, which is bigger and better than the one you're currently at, you know, you're cool with the management, you met the executives, the CEO, everything's all good. But right when you make the leap from that crappy job to the better one, they do an entirely different shift of management. It's like everyone who you were cool with that kind of let you into the door for Viacom, they're gone. It's all new people. And it's like, wait, what the hell? It's like the grass was green. It looked greener from a distance, but when you get up there, there's more manure on that side than when you were back on, you know, the side with OWN. So yeah, I can see why Tyler Perry is pissed off and he feels screwed over because, like I said before, a lot of people have Dish Network, and without those Viacom channels, Tyler Perry just got a huge piece of the pie was cut and removed from the equation. That's a lot of viewers he lost right there because DirecTV dropped Viacom. That sucks. So when we say Tyler Perry, has he lost his touch? I don't think he's lost his touch. I just feel like he has been putting his hand into too many bowls. Like if he reduced it back down to maybe a couple of series and then did movies here and there instead of just like, I'm impressed with Tyler Perry Studios. Like, you know, like Whoopi Goldberg and a few other cast members of various movies and shows have described it in interviews. And it sounds like, dang, what did they call it back in the day when they first established like those warehouses that created cars? Was it called assembly lines? It's pretty much like that, where Tyler Perry is working on like 10, 20 different things at one time. He's able to pump out movies in 10 days or so. While impressive, the end result isn't always that good. Like, just because you can do something in 3 days doesn't mean that you shouldn't take 12 to make sure it's in its best condition. I think this was a quote from the crooked mayor or governor or congressman in a barbershop too, when he was talking to Jimmy. Now, Jimmy, it's better to cut, what was it? It's better to measure 10 times and cut once than to measure once and cut 10 times. And then Jimmy was like, wait, what? And it actually made sense to me. Like, just because you can do stuff instantly, you have full creative control, that doesn't mean the first take is always the take you should go with. Maybe the actor wanted to put more emotion in it or something, because whenever we talk about the pains or nobody's fool or the haves and the have-nots of loving you is wrong, some of the most common complaints is, man, nobody's fool suck. You know, Tiffany Haddish was just way too much. Or if loving you is wrong, Kelly needs to learn how to act. Somebody needs to guide her. Or the haves and the have-nots, the characters are way too stiff and the dialogue is repetitive, and the list goes on. I can actually agree with a lot of those things, but I always say that when I'm talking bad about the show, it's in reference to the characters, the writing and the direction, not necessarily the actors and actresses. They are only doing what they're being directed to do. So sometimes when the acting or delivery is bad, you really got to think, is it the actor's fault or is it because they aren't being directed properly? But who am I to judge? Like I said, I have no experience in this, but as a person who's been reviewing stuff for a couple of years, I feel like I have some credibility, but I'm not somebody who can instantly tell people what to do. I'm just a person who has observed this stuff as well as what a majority of other fans are saying. And if a lot of people are making this much noise about it, it's something that should be reevaluated. That's just my thing. So once again, what do you think? I really need to do follow-up on the Viacom stuff. I really want to see what Tyler Perry is going to do in order to readjust to losing a bunch of viewers before he even puts his stuff out there. Like, I feel bad. But at the same time, you know, is he going to bring Medea back? Is he going to work on different projects? But is he going? I know he has that television thing coming out soon, but maybe that'll be something. But then again, I don't know if people will like that, because not a reflection on Tyler Perry, but think about it. If I had DirecTV and I lost all the Viacom stuff, meaning that I wouldn't be able to watch all the new Tyler Perry stuff, and the only way to watch it would be to purchase television if he has all the shows on there. The next extra money that I wish I didn't have to spend because DirecTV screwed me over. So yeah, kind of sucks. But yeah, like I said, this is kind of like not a rant video, but more of a addressing what the public has to say. What do you feel about it? Has Tyler Perry lost his touch? Do you think like he still has it, but he's just more involved in so many things that it wouldn't hurt if he actually added more people to his team. Who knows? But then again, subscribe to the channel. Give this video a thumbs up. Comment your thoughts below. Share this video around. Let's see if we get some traction on it. And I'll talk to you in the next video. Congratulations on making it to the end of this video. If you like what you just saw, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, or if you have anything you would like to add to the video, make sure to leave your thoughts in the comment section below. If you want to keep up with me on social media, go to the description box. All of my links for social media are right there. Also, if you feel like you would like to donate to the channel, make sure to click on the link to PayPal. Any amount helps. $1, $5, $20. As a full-time YouTuber, any support from my fans really does mean a lot to me. Finally, make sure to hit the subscribe button as well as the bell notification icon. That way you're kept up to date on any new content I post to the channel. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you in the next video.